Well, let's first, I think we have an email question. Let's go ahead and get to that. My car was parked. A delivery driver left his keys in the ignition and the car running at the curb, and two teenagers walked by, jumped in, and tried to drive off and crashed into my car. The police report says the delivery driver is at fault because of his negligence. When I've contacted his insurance, the rep that's handling the claim hasn't responded, even though it's been 30+ days. At this point, should I keep calling the insurance? And what recourse do I have if they refuse to cover the damage? This is from Trev. Trev had a lot in that question. Brian, first and foremost, one of the things that pops out to me is he's talking about what the crash report says, what the police says. Is that dispositive of who's responsible for the accident, first and foremost?
No, again, everything that's in the crash report, that's the police putting their investigation together on a piece of paper, but it's not dispositive. We've had cases where sometimes our client is put at fault and there's some sort of issue where the police didn't speak with a witness, they didn't review the traffic camera. So the crash report, although it's accurate, I would say 98, 99% of the time, sometimes there's issues, and usually the crash report would have the driver of the vehicle and saying whether or not they were at fault. In this situation, it sounds like somebody actually stole the vehicle. So they would be putting the people who stole the vehicle at fault, not necessarily the driver. But Ted, in this case, if the delivery driver leaves his keys and somebody takes the vehicle, is the delivery driver who left the keys in responsible?
Potentially. As Brian mentioned, Florida follows a doctrine known as the dangerous instrumentality doctrine, which typically puts the owner just as liable as the driver of the vehicle, and that's just the way we've determined that we should allocate fault. We don't have to do an actual, in many jurisdictions, it's a negligent entrustment type standard when you let someone use your vehicle. In Florida, it's strict liability if you give the person permission to use the vehicle. In this case, clearly you're not going to qualify for the dangerous instrumentality doctrine because that individual took the vehicle. So now you're looking at a general negligence type theory, and I think there's a strong argument here. If he left the keys in the ignition and the vehicle running and didn't properly secure it and safe and make sure it was safe and that someone couldn't just come in and take it like obviously was done here, then there is a strong argument that you can suggest that there's negligence on the part of the delivery truck driver, in addition to the negligence of the driver who actually caused the accident themselves. So it's important, Trev, that you get the insurance information for both of those individuals. But to the root of your question, do you need to continue calling the insurance company? My strong suggestion would be that you get a law firm like ours or someone like us involved sooner rather than later for multiple reasons. As Brian says, the crash report's not dispositive. You have to actually go out and get the evidence and the witnesses to support your claim, and it's important to get that locked down and documented sooner rather than later. There may be video of this, especially if it was in a neighborhood. Everybody has Ring doorbells now. People have security cameras. But the problem is that footage will get run over very, very quickly, especially on a home system. There's no telling how short that fuse might be. So it's important as the clock is ticking to get that taken care of. And with this nuance of whether or not the delivery truck driver is liable for failing to secure the vehicle and leaving it open, that's going to be a more difficult claim, especially one to pursue on your own. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get someone involved to help you, because as you can see, the insurance company has all the time in the world, and they have all the professionals working on this from day one. It's important that you have your own professional to help you properly facilitate and pursue that claim so that you can get fairly and adequately compensated.
And yeah, just to add on to other evidence that might be out there, if it's a UPS truck or a commercial vehicle, there might be dash camera footage that actually caught the people stealing the vehicle, or the vehicle, how long it was actually left open for the public to access. But again, it would be best to contact an attorney, and they can kind of walk you through the steps and help you make sure all the evidence is done.